What's up, people? How we doing tonight? Gonna jump right in. BBM 7. If you're waiting for me, go ahead and click that button now, and let's get going. Waiting for 4. Thanks for joining me tonight. Let me shift my screens around. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late there. Had some things to take care of, and I forgot to have this all set up and ready to go. But we're rolling now. Waiting for 2. Was gonna pop and do over a few slow drafts, but this should fill rather quickly. Gonna do a couple BBMs and maybe an eliminator after. Uh, I guess I could do 3. Well, we'll decide. We're definitely going to do 2 BBMs because I want to fill the promo for this week. If you haven't noticed the promo, hit that little present thing in the top right corner. Works better on mobile. I know if I click it now, I'm not going to see that it's. I think it's do 4 BBMs, get 1 free. Do 4 eliminators, get 1 free. 2 fast puppies, get 1 free, and 2 slow puppies, get 1 free. Slow puppies are easy. Just enter them, boom, enter 2, and boom, you get a third. But the rest of them, you gotta, I think, either complete by tonight or tomorrow. But I'm not. Tomorrow I'll stream. I'm gonna do the 3 pugs. There's a pug in there where it's a 3 entry max. All right, we are going. I'm in the 7 hole. Who do we have here? Seabuck, Woody Bang, Patrick, Debo, A. Allen, Blake, LOO, SM, Simo, I don't know, ZP and Numbers, James Berry, Mom Red. Anybody in the chat also in the draft? If you are, let me know. Doesn't mean I won't talk, just means I will. Actually, I'm less likely to snipe you if you're also in this draft. Even if it's accidentally. I never snipe on purpose. There's just no sense in it. Ooh. Just looking at my rank I put in. I rarely go off the rank. Usually I go off ADP, but sometimes I like to just check the rank to see tiebreaker style who I liked better when I had time to think it out. But I think I did my rankings this time more closely connected to ADP because I was getting too much Ashton Genty. 8 hole. Oh, yeah, it's usually what I do, but like if there's a 50-50 factor, I kind of like, I guess I can't say I lean one way or the other, but I won't intentionally snipe. We'll see as the draft gets going. You're right next to me though, right? Yeah, in the 8 hole. But no, we're starting out different. So I don't know if I've started with ARSB and a BBM yet. I haven't done that many best ball manias. I've done over 300 drafts, 100 of them pre-NFL draft. But the BBM streets, to me, it's just too much of a lottery to kind of invest my money. I like small field tournaments or the cheap buy-ins. Just economically speaking, that's a better route. I think next week I'm going to start doing some drafters. It won't be until next weekend. I got family duty early in the week, Sunday through Wednesday. So maybe Thursday I'll hop on and have something for you. But I will definitely do those 3 pugs tomorrow. So the draft started out pretty normal. CMC went at the 6 hole. I took ARSB. Jonathan Taylor goes after that. Then Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, James Cook, and Ashton Genty close out the first. And the second starts with AJ Brown. Get your guy. Get your guy. If you're not going to do 150 of these, you get your guy. Or there could be a uniqueness pull up. I could see that. After AJ goes Hampton, Barkley, Chase Brown. I am nearly on the clock, and I'm going to go with Derrick Henry for this main reason. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube streams as well, and everybody's talking about the likelihood of Malik Willis getting benched towards the end of the season. And I keep asking, well, if they're going to bench Malik Willis for poor play, that assumes they've lost 8 to 10 games. Why would they keep playing Achane? I just don't think Achane's going to be around during the fantasy playoffs. And although he's old, nobody stays in better shape than Derrick Henry. And come December, here we go. Turns it on. So that's, I like my start after Henry goes. I like your start too. Kenneth Walker, I would have taken ahead of Derrick Henry. Put me in that decision-making spot. Kenneth Walker's no-brainer, auto-click, run to the podium type pick. After Derrick Henry goes George Pickens. The only way I would kind of reach for Pickens is to stack with CD Lamb. I want to do that before this year's out, but I don't like Pickens in the second. When he comes around in the third, I consider it. But after Pickens, Achane, London, Nico Collins, Brock Bowers at 211. That's a great start. Bijan and Bowers. And then Devontae Smith closes out the second. Third starts, well, I'll get to it in a second. I'm not crazy about this pick. Actually, let me go here. I'll just go T. Higgins. Yeah, I might get something coming back in the fourth that I like. Just set that up. All right, so the third was Jeremiah Love, Rashee Rice, Breece Hall. I was hoping Breece would fall to me. Zay Flowers, Trey McBride, Chris Olave, and I go with T. Higgins. I have very little T. Higgins, nothing against them. I usually just don't find myself in a spot where I'm kind of torn. I have somebody ranked ahead of him, but just noticed that ADP has him firmly in the next round. So I'm pretty high on the guy. I don't want to blurt it out during a live draft stream, but I will let you know when it is taken. All right, so after my Higgins pick goes Javonte Williams, Kyron Williams, Emeka Egbuka, Josh Allen, and who's closing out the third? Those in the chat, sound okay? Everything's, I usually forget to do a sound check, and when I listen later, I'm kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do to fix it if it is jacked up, but just hoping everything's coming through all right. If anything ends up jacked up, just let me know. Cool. Ladd McConkey closes out the third. Travis Etienne starts the fourth. Tatori McMillan was the guy in my queue in the third, and I just thought, well, maybe he comes back. Shoot. And then the two I really wanted, Josh Jacobs and Jalen Waddle, go. You're going to make the decision for me. I got two guys starred. Garrett Wilson was one of them. I'm going to go with high upside Malik Neighbors. Let's go, baby. He doesn't have to start week one, just second half of the season. Rocking and rolling. My one problem with the Higgins pick is he has the same bye week as ARSB. Doesn't matter a ton in this format. I just kind of don't like my top two position players having the same bye week. I really have to just keep an eye on not getting a third week 6 bye too quickly. It shouldn't be too hard, but just a little wrench in the works is all. All right, so after Neighbors goes Luther Burden. I could have gone Burden. Neighbors has far more upside, right? Burden, Terry McLaurin, Cam Scatterbust. I'm not a Scattaboo believer. I will probably talk about that at some point. David Montgomery at 410. Feel like he's going at the start of the turn as opposed to after the turn. Like he's been living at this turn, but 410 seems Get your guy. Get your guy. It seems like half badges, half non-badges. After Montgomery goes Michael Evans, Colston Loveland. To start the fifth, we see Jamison Williams, Quinshon Judkins, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Swift. I am probably looking at a running back coming to me. If Zay Flowers had fallen to me in the third, I probably would have grabbed him, and then I'd be eyeing up Lamar. I'm surprised the Flowers drafter did not draft Lamar. I am actually tempted to take Lamar. I'm not a Bucky guy. Although in the fifth, he's not horrible. I'm going to shoot them. I'm going to go Lamar. We can stack them later, whether it's Mark Andrews or, super late 18th round. There's a couple of guys there, a few guys there. So he will be stacked somehow, some way. Obviously not with Flowers, who you'd like him with, but we can get that going. Bucky, I see something. I don't see him getting a lot of high value touches, at least, not to start the season. He has the shoulder issue. He has some mental health issues due to his best friend being shot and killed. I want to say it was a few years ago, but it just hasn't left him. So I just think there's other concerns, so that if you're not 100% mentally into it from the start, football's hard. So I suppose I could have gone Bucky. But after Bucky goes Rome Odunze, Christian Watson, Carnell Tate, and Brian Thomas to close out the fifth. The sixth starts with Drake May, Jadarian Price, DJ Moore, and man, I am fresh out of running back options for sure. LOL, Semo has gobbled up all the running backs. Thank you for leaving me Jordan Tyson. Just want to make sure. I guess he has a week 8 bye, same as Neighbors, but no big deal there. All right. It looks like I got a hero RB build going here. 4 wide receivers and Lamar. Daniels is a good pick in the sixth. Anyway, like I rarely let Daniels get past me in the sixth. I like that pick. Drake May goes early sixth, but I think that is also appropriate. Caleb, I'm more of a if he's in the seventh, hoping he falls to the eighth, which rarely happens. I do have quite a bit of Caleb, though, because whenever I do get Burden or Colston Loveland or the rare Rome Odunze, I do try to get Caleb in that stack, unless I have another guy to stack. All right, so I do have Lamar. I can go. I could. Oh, no. All right, Burrow went. So my next stack might be Goff. All right, keep that in mind. After Caleb went, I'll get to it after my pick. Come on, leave me my guy. Leave me a guy. Leave me the guy I want. Because I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go after that. Ooh. All right, thank you. I'm going to go Ramondre. I think Ramondre is a pretty good value in the 7th round. Sure, his upside is capped by Henderson, but as long as Ramondre stays consistent like he has, should be a solid RB2 for most of the season, giving me some floor where I'll let the receivers take care of the ceiling. All right, so coming back to me, I got a bunch. There's a lot of good receiving options and maybe a running back slips. Greetings and salutations, big shooter. Glad to see you. All right. So after my Tyson pick in the sixth, Caleb Williams, Parker Washington, Joe Burrow, Tyler Warren, Jalen Hurts, and Tony Pollard close out the sixth. Seventh starts with Mekhi Lemon, Quentin Johnson, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Chuba Hubbard, Tucker Kraft. I take Stevenson, and then we see Reed and Sutton go, and then a quarterback, Prescott, Herbert, Lawrence to close out the seventh. Eighth starts with Alec Pierce and Rico Dowdle. All right, good. Get rid of those guys I don't really care for. I kind of wanted Harvey to come back to me, but there's three wide receivers here that are juicy. And there's always that tempting Patrick Mahomes. To see Mahomes in the eighth is just one of those, man, like, oh. But the fact that, so earlier in draft season, like in May, you could get Patrick Mahomes in the eighth and Worthy in the ninth or even the 10th, and then Kelsey in the 11th and sometimes the 12th. Like, so that you could clearly, easily get the double stack. And if I get Mahomes, I would really like that double stack. Quite often, Worthy does not make it around this turn at this point, especially me picking from 6. At 8-8, I probably would have gone in that direction. Even at 8-7, I might have thought about that direction. But my wide receiver room is tight. In fact, I think I'm going to stop at wide receiver for now. I'm going to even black it out. After down, I took downs when Kyle Monongai, Patrick Mahomes, Ricky Purcell, Blake Corum, Brock Purdy, and Jackson Dart. Not a dart guy. Too many trips to the medical tent, to the blue tent. I'll hit the 6th when I get back. I don't have any tight ends, right? Ooh, shoot. I'll take Fannin here. Just thinking, I'm looking at a quarterback and going, ooh, I should have stacked. Never mind. I didn't have a chance to stack him before picking him. But if he does come back, I can backstack him late. Jacoby Myers goes. So in this 9th round, we see Laporta, Kenny Gainwell, Matt Stafford, Jonathan Brooks, my guy. I really need running back badly. Xavier Worthy, Michael Wilson. I take Fannin. Then we see Jacoby Myers. Bo Nix is the quarterback I was kind of had my eye on there. And Michael Pittman, Kyle Pitts. And we're waiting to close out the 9th here. But, there we go. I really want one of the running backs that I think will be available, but I think I absolutely positively am going to need to go quarterback unless they go. So where did I leave off? Dobbins closes out the 9th. Kittle starts out the 10th. And there goes my stack. Jared Goff. What else we got? Dart's gone. New Orleans, Indianapolis. Ooh. I'm going to be in a bit of a pickle. I do have a running back here that I'm going to get, though. Whichever one you leave me, I'll be content with. Just checking bye weeks real quick. Going to grab Rachaad White. The 10th goes Kittle, Goff, Love, Kyler Murray, Wan'Dale Robinson. And then I grabbed Rachaad White as my 3rd running back in the 10th. I really would have liked Goff for that stack. I have a ton of Love stacks, but I have no Packers in this one. And I really, Jackson Dart would have been the other stack. I only grab Dart when I have Neighbors and Dart falls to like the 9th round, mid-9th. Otherwise, I'm off of Dart for the most part. And in fact, in like super flex leagues, I think it was like 17% Jameson Winston in super flex leagues at this point. Uh, I have a much stronger bet on JMO than Dart. Dart just he plays recklessly like Scattaboo. Um, and well, at least Dart is fast, but he doesn't use his speed properly. Like Lamar and Malik Willis, and there's a couple of Jaden Daniels. They use their speed properly. They try to avoid contact. Dart welcomes it, and that will be his downfall. After my Rashad White, we see Matthew Golden, Baker Mayfield, Kevin Concepcion, Jaden Higgins, Romeo Dubs, and Khalil Shakir closes out the 10th. I will hit the 11th as soon as I'm done picking. Mark Andrews falls to me nicely. Stacked Lamar. All right, team's starting to come together. 11th round, Jordan Mason was actually my next in queue if somebody had taken Rashad White. Then I went. Next pick was Jake Ferguson, Aaron Jones, Chris Rodriguez, Bill, Tyler Shuck. I take Andrews, then Kelsey goes, then Tracy goes. Tyrone Tracy is a guy I really like, and realized last night that I don't have as much as him as I thought I did. I haven't checked pre-draft. I feel like maybe I have a ton of them pre-draft, and that's why I've kind of been sensitive. I think Tracy has moved up some, and I do draft a lot of Mark Andrews. I feel like my pattern was like 11th round Andrews and then 12th round Tracy, or later. Everybody's all the good picks are starting to consolidate towards the top now that we're getting closer to the season. After Tracy is likely, Coker and Shaheed closes out the 11th. The 12th starts out with Keaton Mitchell, Stephon Diggs, and Malik Willis. Thinking about my next pick here. I have 2 tight ends. I can wait on that. Sam Darnold goes. I do have a ton of Cam Ward, but really I prefer CJ Stroud. I just think he's easier to stack and has a safer floor and actually higher upside. You look at Stroud's receivers, and there's just a plethora of talent there, especially if Tank Dell comes back. He's just got so many people to throw. And even if Dell doesn't come back, like he just has consistency there. Yeah, the offense doesn't open it up as much, but I think they will this year. They did get David Montgomery, and I expect David Montgomery to get 70% of the running back touches and have a decent year. But David Montgomery isn't going to break games open by any stretch of the imagination. I think we see Stroud being relied on a little bit more. After Stroud went Goddard, Jalen McMillan, Ward, Daniel Jones, Jalen Naylor, Bryce Young closes out the 12th, and then the 13th starts with Pacheco, Omar Cooper, Juwan Jennings, Chigakonkwo, Gadsden, and then it comes to me. Maybe looking at a couple different guys here. He's down there. I can wait around for him, hopefully. Shoot. I wanted Woody Marks as a running back quarterback stack. I'm going to go with Jonah Coleman. I have a ton of them, and I don't really want to. I just think like the other player I want, the other player I have on my radar, he'll be available next round easily. Wide receivers, I'm saving for later. I need to get I do have a Baltimore stack, but I could always 18th round, a Baltimore pick, and 17th round, I will get a Houston stack. I'd love to double stack them both, but I went heavy receiver at the beginning. So I'm kind of making it up at running back. hopefully grabbing some floor at running back. I think Stroud maybe gives me the leeway to just stay at two. Generally speaking, if I'm going to stay at two quarterbacks and not draft a third, um, I draft two within the first 10 rounds. Stroud, though, is kind of, this is going to be a bit of a reach, but I'm going to stack Stroud with Schultz, finishing up my tight end room. Close that out. Really, one or two more running backs, two more receivers, and decide from there. So it's like one running back, two receivers, and a wild card. Not sure which direction I'm going to go there. Whether I could go quarterback, depending. I could do an 18th round Shador to stack with Fannin. That's I like grabbing Fannin or Pitts because it leaves me open to that 18th round stack. I'm probably just going to go running back here, even though I do prefer the running backs that are kind of going in the next tier. But if I get the running back I like, I will grab him. Let me just queue up some guy. Oh, not even going to queue him up. Come on, give me my guy so I don't have to scroll down. I'll tell you who went after Schultz as soon as the pick hits. All right. Going to grab Dylan Sampson. Could still grab a sixth running back. It's really a choice. It's really a choice between, a third quarterback, sixth running back, or eighth receiver. I'm kind of bouncing around with that thought right now. After I took Schultz, we saw Trey Harris, Kenyon Sadiq, Tank Bigsby, Tajay Spears, Alvin Kamara, Fernando Mendoza closes out 14th. 15th starts with Antonio Williams, Malik Washington, Aaron Rodgers, Gunnar Helm, Geno Smith, Isaac Tesla. I take Sampson. And then we see AJ Barner, Brian Robinson, Adonai Mitchell. Somebody called him Adderall Mitchell today. I thought that was kind of fitting. If you listen to Davis Maytek, he talks about how he thought Adonai Mitchell needed some focus, some ADHD meds. So the Adderall Mitchell came about. 15-11 is TJ Hawkinson, and the 15th is closed out with Ryan Flournoy. We see the 16th start out with Sean Tucker, Zachariah Branch, Ray Davis, and it is coming to me. There's some tempting running backs here. There's actually some tempting wide receivers here too, but I'm just going to start filling in my stacks. I'm going to grab that Tank Dell around earlier than I know I should, but that gives me a double stack at Houston. I can worry a little bit less about that. It's kind of opening up. Ooh. It's so hard for me to turn down some of these running backs here. Like, I just think there's some upside at running back in this 17th round. Really, I tend to grab them in the 16th just to lock it up. But so after, I left off of Ray Davis, we saw Pat Fryermuth, Jeremy Bernard, and I took Tank Dell, then Kate Otten, Calvin Ridley, T. Ferguson, Jerry Jeudy, Emmett Johnson, and Elijah Surratt closes out the 16th. So Surratt was going to be my 17th round pick. I'm going to stick with two quarterback. That I feel fine with Lamar and Stroud. Like, a Cleveland quarterback isn't. I wouldn't. I don't think a Cleveland quarterback would save. What's going to be better, Cleveland quarterback or actually, if the running back I like comes to me, I'm going to grab him. I don't usually go 6 running backs, but Jaden Blue sitting here, I think, has some upside. The other running back that I actually thought has just as much upside, but has just burned me too often in the past is Marshawn Lloyd. But I do think Jaden Blue is their locked in wide receiver 2. Running back 2, and will be getting 30% of the touches, maybe more as the season goes on, and really the pass catching duties. And he could do more than just pass catch too. Like, he has the body makeup of a pass catcher, but the production profile of an all around back. So left with one last pick. I'm gonna go with a Baltimore receiver. I never get Rashad Bateman, but lately they've been saying that he is going to get run over Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane, it was Matt Harmon, I think, said Jacoby Lane is more like a special teams guy. I heard somebody else compare him to Miles Boykin. So I'm back on the Bateman, and we'll go from there. Not a bad team all around. Started out ARSB. Second went Derrick Henry. Oh, so I even have that stacked with Lamar. Didn't even think about that when I took him. Sometimes the running back quarterback stack is what I call a ham and egg. One week you get the ham, the other week you get the eggs, and either way you get your protein. But with Henry and Lamar, you can see them both go off in the same game to power charge your playoff weeks. All right, so ARSB, Derrick Henry. T. Higgins is a bring back to the Baltimore stack. Didn't even think about that. Just naturally kind of did it. Malik Neighbors in the 4th. I think this is a super high upside team, especially late in the season. Lamar in the 5th. Jordan Tyson in the 6th. Ramondre Stevenson in the 7th. Josh Downs in the 8th, Harold Fannin in the 9th, Rashad White. I always mess up the first name. I think it's him and Rashee Rice. I kind of I always hesitate. Anyway, Rashad Rice, Rashad White, Mark Andrews for the stack at tight end. Needed a quarterback. Think CJ Stroud has a great floor. With potential for a high ceiling. But he's kind of the last quarterback that him and Sam Darnold are kind of the last quarterbacks that I feel secure about just going with 2 quarterback and not wanting an 18th round third just as a kind of playoff upside or bye week upside kind of play. Anyway, 13th, I said Jonah Coleman I grabbed. I find myself with a ton of Jonah Coleman. I wanted Woody Marks for the running back, quarterback stack, especially the pass casting running back to the quarterback. But Coleman falls in this zone where I find myself going, I'm thinking running back here, and he pops up, and I look at all the other positions, and I look at my team, and I'm like, I end up with a lot of Jonah Coleman. I hope Dobbins goes down early and Jonah Coleman gets used, because I got a lot of Coleman, not a lot of Dobbins. Not that I don't think Dobbins is a great talent. He's just never been able to stay healthy. Steve Smith really likes Lane. Thanks to Ravens. Took him for end zone situations. Big body who can jump and win balls. That's good to know. I actually have a decent amount of Lane. But the only reason I picked Bateman was kind of the recent reports on him. But I will keep that in mind. I do appreciate Steve Smith's opinion. I appreciated him even more on the field. But he's also not a coach. The coaches are ultimately going to decide. General manager picked them for a reason. We'll see, though. You could be dead right. I will never claim to know everything by any stretch of the imagination. I'm more lucky than good, but I'd rather be lucky than good. All right, I left off at Coleman. Dalton Schultz was a stack with Stroud. Dylan Sampson, I have quite a bit of. I think he could end up being a pretty high value play, pass catcher on a team that's going to be passing the ball a lot. Tank Dell 16th, about a round ahead of where I usually like to take them early, like by the end of, let's say mid-June, towards the end of June, I realized I had it was either 47% or 49% Tank Dell. And I was just like, what? Like almost half my teams had Tank Dell. So I've tried to back off of them. I think I got them below 35%. I'll double check on that. But on this team, it just fit too perfectly, and he has tremendous upside. Like there's no 16th round pick or later that has his kind of upside. Jaden Blue in the 17th I talked about, and I talked about Bateman. Question: Dynasty half PPR. You have Hampton, CMC, Chase Brown, and Scat trading Chase and Scat for Bijan. Yeah, if you can get that deal, yeah. Wait, Chase meaning Chase Brown, right? Yeah. Chase, not Jamar Chase. Chase Brown and Scat for Bijan in a heartbeat. That is a slam except run to the podium if you can get the guy to go for that. All right, next one. Let's jump in another BBM. If you'd like to join me, I would say join now. I'm going to give you 5 seconds because there's a 7-second delay, but it takes me 2 seconds to click confirm. Hopefully you got in. There is 4 more spots. 4 more spots open if you want to get in this. Let's go. These feel quick, or should feel quick. So I say that and I sit around waiting. We'll be good. We'll be fine. Get in. 3 more people, 3 open. And I'll throw up the draft board there. Give me 2 seconds for a little water break. I can already hear my voice cracking. Any other questions, drop them in the chat. In order to chat, I have the subscribe button on just to kind of keep out the bots mainly and other riffraff. If you subscribe, comment, chat, we'll BS about, and if you don't like it, unsubscribe at the end. But I love to interact and know what you're thinking, and I like to know who's in the draft so that I don't give away too much. I mean, the last draft, I just rambled on with the guy next to me in the draft, not even thinking about it. So come on in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Drop your questions. And while you're at it, hit wheelrouteff.com. Wheelrouteff.com. I got rankings there for Dynasty, Best Ball, and my first initial redraft rankings. I just realized I have some old pictures of drafts in there that I need to update with some new mock drafts. I always go through what I call a self mock, where I go through an entire mock draft myself rather than like joining mock drafts or having other people join mock drafts. I think mock drafts are almost purposeless. Even the expert mocks you see, I feel like people try to experiment and don't necessarily pick who they would really pick in a regular draft, especially if you're doing one of those auto mocks on ESPN or Yahoo or any of the other major sites where it's just you picking against the computer, picking against ADP. There's so many people in those things that aren't taking their honest picks. They just want to see what's happening, see what's going on, get familiar with the site. And that, getting familiar with your draft room, sure. If you're drafting on those sites in your home league, go ahead and do mocks on there. It's just that your draft is going to look nothing like any of those drafts. In fact, these underdog drafts are far more reflective. And actually, I would say eliminator drafts are far more representative of where people will draft players. But really, in that, you want to pay attention to positionally what order they go in, not necessarily like linearly. But when I do a mock draft, it's as if, my team is every team. So I'm drafting exactly who I would draft had I had that team. And those were the players available. I feel like it gives a true, honest picture of what you may see on draft day. But that'll be updated by next week. All right. So I don't want to go ARSB again. I'm going to get my guy. I'm going to go with Ginty. So just screw it. Reach for my guy. I know he usually, can make it to the 11 or 12. But in my redraft rankings, I have Ginty at the 1.5. And he might move up to the 1.4. He might move up to the 1.3. I just think in your home league, actually, like running backs tend to go quicker. So I'm a Ginty guy. I do think he's going to be a top 3 RB this year, provided McCaffrey doesn't bounce back. I just don't like with McCaffrey's age, and if everybody else on the Niners stays healthy, McCaffrey will see fewer targets. I know what I'm going to do. So as we saw in the last draft, I would not hesitate to draft Derrick Henry in this spot. Am I in the same? I'm in one spot later. I'm in the 8 hole. But Derrick Henry and Ashton Ginty have the same bye week. I do not think bye weeks are overall important. You don't want. You can have 2 running backs with the same bye week, but if you're only drafting 5 running backs, you'll max out 2 of the same bye week. Same with receiver. You can have 3 receivers with the same bye week, but if you have 3 receivers with the same bye week, you probably want to lean towards that 8 wide receiver range instead of 7. You just want to be aware that you want to give yourself enough firepower during bye weeks not to concede points or take zeros. But last draft, AJ Brown went at the 2.1. I want to say Nathan Yankee just put out something today about how valuable a pick AJ Brown's going to be. And I think he was going more off redraft ADP where he might be going in the 3rd round, which I doubt that'll happen in your regular redraft league. But any good news from a tout like that or any evaluation from somebody of Nathan Yankee's stature is going to drive the market where he starts to, climb up in the 2nd round. And we already saw that last draft. I will go over the picks in just a minute, and I'll find out which one of you are in this draft and where you are right after this pick. Come on, leave me my guy. You didn't. Brees Hall is definitely my guy. I will take Zay Flowers here, though. And, man, if Lamar comes to me at 5'8", I can tell you, I'll go with the Baltimore stack again. I got nothing. So I live in the Baltimore area, just north of Baltimore, Towson area. But I am not a Ravens fan at all. I grew up in New York, a Giants fan, but I have since renounced my Giants fandom. Just don't like the direction the organization has gone in overall. All right. So first round, we saw a pretty normal start. First 6 picks. In 7 hole, go CeeDee Lamb. The only reason I didn't go ARSB here in the 8 hole is because I just did that in the last draft and didn't really feel like repeating myself. And honestly, if I had gone ARSB there, I would have ended up with Derrick Henry there too and really started out the same way. ARSB goes right after that pick. Then Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, and James Cook closes out the first. going to just kind of queue up the guys I want or will take. All right, so Tatori McMillan was the wide receiver I had in queue. Right now, I have 2 running backs in there. And I'm going to pick, I want one over the other, but I don't want to give it away just in case Rager. All right, Javonte, thank you for taking Javonte. I much rather Josh Jacobs. I know he has a ton of legal trouble, and I don't want to promote what he is accused of, but the NFL rarely reacts in time. And if that news had never come out, before that news was coming out, Jacobs was going in the late second. Did you draft a lot of Kenny Galladay post draft? So when it was a fair amount, probably a fair amount. But even when I was a Giant fan, I wasn't high on Giants in fantasy. Oh, you know what? I should be sharing this tab. Draft board. All right. That was a mistake to have that up there. You guys could have seen who I was queuing up all along. All right, second round, I left off Omarion Hampton, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown. I went with A.J. Brown. Then we saw Pickens. That's the second time we've seen Pickens go early or mid-second. Then Drake London, Derrick Henry at the 2.8, Brock Bowers at the 2.9, Devontae Smith, Devin Achane at the 2.11. I think a lot of people are catching wind of, you know what, he may not play in the playoffs. Nico Collins closes out the second. The third goes Olave, Jeremiah Love, McConkey, that's a little early. Travis Etienne's a little early. Rashee Rice at the 3.5, McBride at 3.6. Breece Hall goes right before me at the 3.7. I take Zay Flowers, Kyron Williams at 3.9. Higgins, Neighbors, and Josh Allen close out the third. I'll get to the fourth in a minute. Looky. I'm going to do it again. Why not? Lamar's going to have a bounce back year, people. Bijan. All right, so yeah, that's actually, I bet. Well, 2.11's late. 2.11's late right now, but as the talking heads start talking more, they're not going to be on late season stuff. The reason I'm kind of soft fade I would have taken them there for sure. I actually would have taken them at the 2.10 or any like the 2.8. Well, 2.8 would definitely have been Henry. I probably would have taken him over Bowers, even though I very much like Bowers. I definitely would have taken him over Devontae Smith, even though I have a ton of them. Yeah, I would have. If I had started out receiver first round, Achane would have been my second round pick. But I'm quite convinced that Achane won't be around during our fantasy playoff weeks. So, you know what? I don't really want to take running back, but Jadarian Price is going to move up draft boards. I feel like he's been moving down a little bit lately. Oh, and he's the same bye week as Josh Jacobs. I always forget that. Don't have a lot of them, but I'm starting to see the light on him. I saw a picture of him today too, and he's jacked. So that probably influenced me right there. But and the difference between the running back I could have gotten here and the running back I can get later is about the wide receiver. Sorry, if I had gone wide receiver here, it would have been a bit of a reach. And actually, the wide receiver I would have drafted has a chance of coming back. Not a good chance, but a slim chance of coming back. So I went with Price and just that's the latest you've seen. I was like, it surprised me that he was still there. So what his ADP His ADP is 63, and I took him at 65. Oh, are you talking about Achan? That's the latest you've seen Achan go? Yeah, yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I just like I don't think it's shocking to me that Lamar is going 2 full rounds after Josh Allen in some drafts. It just baffles me. I don't remember where I left off with the picks either. I'm probably not going to pick it up. We see quarterbacks come screaming off the board in the sixth. Burrow, Prescott, May, and Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams come off in the sixth. Jalen Hurts hanging out in the seventh is like also baffling to me. So like Prescott goes a little bit earlier than he usually does here. Like I definitely think Daniels, May could go in the fifth. Lamar could or should go in the fourth. Burrow's about correctly priced. I do like Dak and Herbert in the seventh. I think Caleb should be going in the seventh. But Hurts, I think, should be going in the sixth. And it really, I could have. I don't feel like I can draft Hurts having Lamar. I'm going to go Sutton, feeling a little bit behind at wide receiver. But like Hurts being available at the 7-8 or 7-9, while it makes me rethink my fifth round pick in Lamar, but you can't dwell on it. I just there you go. Like Big Bob, yeah, you got lucky. You got the good draw in this draft. Yeah, that's a heck of a team, actually. All right, who else is in this draft and where are you? Who else is in this draft and where are you? Just so I can kind of keep up with your team and, you know, I'll voice out loud what I'm thinking. It doesn't matter either way. I'm gonna hope he comes back. Oof. Feels like running back just keeps falling in this draft, and it feels like wide receiver is just gone crazy. I'm going to reach a little bit and grab Xavier Worthy. I don't see any reason why Xavier Worthy isn't going in the eighth round normally anyway. I think he's at least as good as pick as the 4 that went before him. I know it's a reach, but yeah, and I don't think there's any way Patrick Mahomes will make it back to me, but I didn't think Jalen Hurts would make it to the 7-Eleven. And he ain't there to get Slurpees. That was bad, I know. Dad joke. I'm 53. I'm allowed to be corny. So I'm a teacher too, and I'm like, hey, corny, cheesy. I'm 53. I don't need excuses, whether they're dad jokes or just. In fact, I had a student write me one year, keep up with those corny jokes. One day they'll hit. So I'll keep up with them. All right. So this eighth round, Godwin, Addison, Downs, Purcell, Worthy. Like I do like all of those wide receivers in this round. It's just, I'm behind a wide receiver. And there definitely was a running back that is still available that I would have grabbed. And there's a running back right now that I would take above Hubbard, although Hubbard in the eighth. Does he go in the eighth regularly? Like he was going in the sixth at one point. So like the eighth, that price is starting to look palatable. Rico Dowdle, Pittman goes, Blake Corum, Dobbins. There's a running back still available I would take ahead of probably all 4 of those, including Monangai in the ninth. Sam Laporta goes at 8-11 and Purdy at the 8-12, closing out the eighth. The ninth starts out with Michael Wilson, Jared Goff, Jackson Dart, Kyle Monangai. Rashad White. What the heck? Oh, all right. RJ Harvey. Like ninth round RJ Harvey, I will take all day. Yeah, that's what I said. That's why Hubbard stumped me there. No freaking way. Damn. Baltimore KC stack and like Mahomes at a discount. Ooh. This is fun. This is fun. Probably I like Fannin and Pitts in this round, but Mahomes at the 9.8. Come on, people. Look, I don't care if he doesn't start until after his bye week. It just doesn't matter. It's crazy. Mahomes should be going. Well, Hurts should go earlier, but Mahomes should be going right next to Purdy. Probably right next to Lawrence. Like I don't. Yeah, he'll start out slow, but we're talking about playoff weeks here. Playoffs. Um, we want to charge our team for week 17, then 15 and 16. We want to work our way backwards here, which seems counterproductive. But no, I'm gonna skip Kittle. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do a little reach for Kelsey. Just get that double stack there, because next round there's a player I want that literally goes right next to Kelsey. So Kelsey and the other player, I'm sure it's evident who I want, and I'm gonna grab. But the player I want goes right next to him. So reaching around to kind of set your team at pace, no problem with it whatsoever, especially when it's like skipping a wide receiver, because wide receiver values, like I do like Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the one I had in the queue. And Jacoby Myers, if he was there, would have been tempting as well. I like them. I like Kevin Concepcion too. Generally the wide receivers that go in this range, I do like, but while they might be more consistent than the next tier, they don't necessarily present higher upside. Like Jacoby Myers, Wan'Dale Robinson, they will probably appear in your wide receiver 3 8 to 10 times this season. Maybe in the flex a couple more. So not bad picks, but getting my tight end one in a double stack when it hopefully sets up the next pick correctly. And the reason I even thought about it is because I saw George Kittle and I was literally about to say, not a huge fan of George Kittle this year. I don't think Kittle should be going that early, but really the play on Kittle is this. He could do nothing for 13 weeks, and then all of a sudden week 14, 15, 16, he's the guy you had to have, or 14, 16, 17, he's the guy you had to have. So that's like, I want to say, like, of the 6 BBM champions, I feel like 3 of them had George Kittle on their team. Just kind of one of those guys that you end up seeing on, bam, set this up perfectly for the Mark Andrews double stack. Whoo! Feeling it. Liking this team a lot. Still feel like I need receiver. Tight end. I close out quarterback. I'm done at quarterback. I'm not going to need another one. I will grab one more tight end, but it can be super late. Same with my running backs. They can be late. Looking at wide receivers around here, and it's kind of thin. Now we're looking. There's 2 guys that I think can present a fairly safe floor with higher upside. But after that, it's just kind of like upside darts. Rashid Shaheed is one of them. I do like him this year. I think with Seattle restructuring their contract, they sent a message that they really like Shaheed. And I don't think, because of the size of the contract, I would assume it's not just for special teams, right? They're looking at the way he performed a couple of years ago and say, we can utilize him that way. It's just that he was trying to jump aboard a moving train, and that's always hard, especially a wide receiver mid-season. The thought with him was that he would be able to do it because he had worked with that offensive coordinator before. It just kind of didn't flow in their team kind of flow of thing. They had the right chemistry to win the Super Bowl. So you don't want to disrupt that too much, but he did add where he could. I think this year, though, I'm soft fading, and soft fading mean just not like drafting at ADP, JSN, because I don't think there's any way he maintains a 34% market share, target share this year. I think Rashid Shaheed cuts into that. JSN probably comes down to like a 27%, and we see Shaheed somewhere in the 17 to 20% range as far as target share, with Cooper Kupp kind of falling off. And there's Torrey Horton? Torrey Horton, who will get a few good looks at the end this year. All right, just kind of. I got 5 receivers, 3 running backs. I could go in either direction. The tight ends aren't that appealing here. Although, if Gadsden falls to the 14th, I'll grab him. Not crazy about a lot of these picks here. And that actually, it's usually why I end up with Jonah Coleman here. It's like just this range. I'm not super crazy about the picks. I'm going to go with Denzel Boston. I honestly think he ends up being the wide receiver 3 on Cleveland. I'm not happy with that pick. I'm just so tired of drafting Jonah Coleman there. Yeah, I probably should have, though, and then go Debo. Oh, shoot, that's 6. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't even actually need to stack my quarterbacks anymore, so I can kind of go with the flow. And, Jonah Coleman's going to make it back to me. I know he is. But I would have preferred like a Jonah Coleman in the 13th, Debo Samuel in the 14th. Thank you. And I might like Tyler Algier is the guy here that I get a lot. But I'm going to, I'll get Algier. I think there's a safe floor, especially to start the season. And I just think they're actually, with Arizona, they'll be like 2-10. I think it's very hard to believe that they would sign Algier and not utilize him as much as possible. And if they're not going to do that, Algier has to be pissed that he got Bijan'd again, right? Like, he rushed for 1,000 yards his rookie year, and then they draft Bijan. He takes the contract with Arizona, and then they draft Jeremiah Love. So he's going through the same thing twice. I mean, he still put up decent numbers. If he's used the same way Arizona used them in Bijan's rookie year, this is a great pick in the 14th round. I still do think there is a chance that midway through the season, they suck. He's being underutilized. He asks for a trade. I think there is a possibility of that trade deadline thing happening. But I would honestly have preferred Jonah Coleman in the 13th and Debo Samuel in the 14th. The reason I didn't just grab Debo there was I just realized I already have Stephon Diggs, who isn't on the team yet. Having another guy that isn't on the team yet seemed a little bit too playing with fire, so to speak. But yeah, I almost always go in the opposite direction there with Coleman and then Debo. So I have plenty of that. After Algier, we see three tight ends go off the board: Sadiq, Henry, and Barner. Then Mendoza, Antonio Williams, Isaac Tesla, and then Debo Samuel. Starting with 15th, we see Brian Robinson, Jawan Johnson, Aaron Rodgers. Jerry Jeudy is the receiver I do like on Cleveland, but well, I guess his ADP is about 175, but I usually see him hanging around after ADP. I'm going to go with the rookie, DeJon Stribling. That does give me 7 wide receivers, and that could close out my wide receiver room, possibly. Don't know. I do need a tight end. Got both my quarterbacks stacked. Bringbacks are yucky. I'll go with upside play. Ooh, wait. T-Ferg went right after my Stribling pick. Wow. 15th round T-Ferg? That's too high, people. Like, he was going in the 8th. I guarantee you, Davis Maddock has 15 shares of Ferguson in the 18th round in Best Ball Mania alone. Not that there's a huge difference between the 15th and 18th round. It's just like, let's not jump the shark this quickly. I definitely would have gotten him with my next pick, which is why I'm saying that. But a little bit of jumping the shark, I think, is correct. And please don't take my guy here. All right, thanks. Leave me my Gunnar Helm, who I have actually a lot more of. I actually think so. Gunnar Helm, I think, is a better pick than T-Ferg. I think he'll get more targets. I think he's just as good a tight end talent-wise, or just a good receiver talent-wise, I should say, because they're really kind of both receiver position guys. Gunnar Helm, he broke his ankle at the combine, so he kind of dropped off everybody's radar. Man, he shouldn't have. He's definitely not off mine. He should definitely be on yours. Yes, they have a lot of wide receivers there in Tennessee and an inconsistent quarterback, but I think we're going to see a breakout year from Gunnar Helm. And as my third tight end, I can close that out. I'm going to get at least one more running back, and then we'll decide whether my 18th round is going to be running back or receiver. I will probably go with, it depends. I feel no need to stack Lamar again, especially because, Lamar's running, and I have his 2 top pass catchers. Like, there's no reason to guess at the third. I think the third is probably going to be Elijah Surratt, who went, I think last draft he went at the 17-1. And Surratt's a guy, if he's around in the 18th, he will have my consideration. But until I can't go Marshawn Lloyd because of bye week. I'll go Katron Allen before I decide on which receiver I'm going to get, just because there are running backs I like too, but I feel like there's more receivers that I can actually. I could stack Baltimore and KC again. And I could grab a 6th running back, couldn't I? I do have 7 receivers and 2 relatively early, 2 before the 10th. But yeah, these last 3, the last 3 receivers, Stephon Diggs could end up being a 9th round pick when he gets a team. Denzel Boston's a true wild card. DeJon Stribling is 2 rookies, but the 2 rookies late, I don't care, especially on this build. Let me think. I could talk myself into a Shador Sanders pick as well, but I don't. That's overkill at quarter. Like if Mahomes and Jackson can't get me there, then just forget about it. um, yeah, I'm not sure with Mahomes and Jackson that Shador Sanders would add any real quality to the team. And Deshaun Watson is out of the question because there's no way on earth he will be starting in week 17. So I went Pat Bryant. I think he's going to be Denver's third receiver. I think he could even cut in on some of Sutton's targets. But all around pretty decent team, except for this kind of like, let's say 13, 14, 15th round. I was like, yeah, I kind of went against what I usually do and ended up not. I mean, I do have a lot of Tyler Algier, and I think in the 13th, what do I usually do? I think I'm usually like a Chigakonkwo, maybe a quarterback, maybe Young. I don't know what I usually do in the 13th. I guess I usually get Jonah Coleman and go from there. Well, there's a lot of things I could have done. All right, so first round, Ginty, a little bit of a reach, but went for my guy, AJ Brown. In the second round, we talked about kind of Henry and Ginty having the same bye week, and didn't want to go there. Zay Flowers fell to me in the third. I talked about him in the last draft, how I usually stack him with Lamar. Was thinking that Lamar wouldn't come back to me at the 5-8, but grabbed Josh Jacobs before that at 4-5. Lamar was there in the fifth, so I grabbed him at 5-8. And then Jadarian Price, we talked about looking jacked. The only drawback is he does have the same week 11 bye. And I have nothing against like stacking the Green Bay running backs as far apart as they are, like 4th round, 17th round, or whatever. But Jadarian Price also has the same bye week, which would have left me in a position where I felt as though I would have had to get a 6th running back with 3 having the same bye. And so it was kind of a negligible pick late. But Jadarian Price, I feel like his ADP has been dropping lately, where I don't think that's going to happen when we get into the cycle of August, where we get all kinds of reports and Jadarian Price is practicing. Actually, the first week he'll be practicing with the third team, but by about halfway through camp, he'll be practicing with the ones, and all of a sudden he'll skyrocket up draft boards. So as he's kind of falling right now, I'll scoop him. Scoop the Dipperino. 7th round, I went with Cortland Sutton. I have started to get more and more Sutton lately. For quite a while there, I was just reaching for Jaden Reed. I do think Jaden Reed should, well, I guess he's right in the right spot, but he should be going ahead of Quentin Johnson. And yeah, goes anywhere in this region. But I'd been avoiding Sutton because I thought he was old and dusty with the addition of Waddle. But on second thought, like, if he's used as much as last year, even if he's used 90% of last year, they like him as a target in the end zone, and they don't really have a true end zone tight end. Even Engram has never in his career been an end zone tight end. He's a possession tight end, and he's getting old and fading off. So Cortland Sutton is their big body in the end zone. So why not? I reached on Worthy just because I was a little bit behind a wide receiver. I do think Worthy should be going in this same zone as Godwin, Addison, Downs, Purcell. So it was a reach that I was like, didn't feel the least a bit bad about. And I was a little bit behind a receiver, kind of wanted to get one. And fortuitously, Patrick Mahomes fell to me at the 9-8. I reached for Kelsey at the 10-5 because I wanted Kelsey and Andrew have about the same ADP, and I wanted Andrews. Kelsey was just one above Andrews or two above Andrews in ADP, so I snagged Kelsey first. Skipped over Kittle, made me think about the tight end position, but then was able to stack Andrews with Lamar, giving me 2 double stacks there. Grab Diggs because I think his ADP is going to shoot up as soon as he signs with Washington. He could end up in Baltimore too. He's at home and he lives in, I believe, grew up in Maryland. He went to College Park, University of Maryland. So he's kind of home training, which is part of the reason why everybody's speculating that he ends up on Washington, because College Park, Maryland is like really like it's 2 train stops away on the metro. They don't call it the metro. I forget what the MARC train. But you get the idea. So real close to DC. It's about an hour away from Baltimore. So, but they have, said, well, if he doesn't end up in DC, he could end up in Baltimore just because it's close. I think that's just a proximity thing, but it would fit this team quite nicely if he does. Denzel Boston in the 13th, talked about that 13th, 14th, and even 15th round pick. I don't mind the 15th round. It was just kind of, I threw myself off with that Boston pick. I'm not too keen on him, although others are, so I should be just fine with it. Gunnar Helm in the 16th was happy. Katron Allen in the 17th. I would have preferred Lloyd, but I talked about the bye week thing. I also, Jaden Blue goes in the 16th here. Last draft, he went right here at 17-7 to me. I would have loved Jaden Blue there, but Katron Allen isn't a bad 17th round pick. He could end up taking the JCM role from JCM during camp. Although, and then he could also have to wait until after their bye week. Who knows? But as a 17th round pick, I do think he's going to get run in the second half of the season regardless. And then Pat Bryant, third receiver on Denver. I think I think Pat Bryant will probably maybe 60% of the routes. But you saw him every time he's healthy, man, they pepper him with targets. And in the playoff game, he got knocked out. I think 3 of the first 4 plays were passes to him, completions. So him going in the 18th round, I guess if you're worried about him being injured, fine. But it is in the 18th round, and it shows us some great upside. Some guys I kind of passed up there that I'm surprised weren't taken were Jalen Noel, Rashad Bateman, Tyquan Thornton I had just queued up because he is stackable with KC. Not nearly as good a third receiver as Pat Bryant, so I went there. Keenan Allen's another guy I've started to pick a little bit in the 18th round because it does feel like he is going to sign with somebody soon. So if you're drafting a lot, keep an eye on Keenan Allen in that last round. Anybody want me to go over their team? Who was in here? We had Burkhughes. Oh, this guy I see a lot. Burkhughes, silver badge. Hubble's Tiger, C. May, roster optimizer. Skirplup, Brisley, Spartan, Upper. I don't really see anybody I recognize. If there's anybody here want me to go over their team, I'll do that. If not, I'm going to jump in an eliminator just to kind of fill all my promotional things so that I don't have to, jam in another one just to get the promotional things. So eliminator, let me kind of go over what this is all about. Much, much, much different from BBM. It's kind of I don't want to say polar opposite. It's still best ball, but as far as tournament settings go, it's probably the polar opposite. You can see here the advancements start from week 1. So in week 1, half of the field is automatically knocked out, and it stays, in your league here in the draft. 6 out of the 12 you draft with go on to the second round. And then weeks 2 through 16, it's a head-to-head matchup all the way through. And then you only have a 3-seat final. So it's a 3-way week 17. Much different format stylistically, where week 17 doesn't really matter at all. We want to really emphasize week 1 to start, and then the first couple of weeks. We want healthy players that are going to start the season. I'm going to enter the eliminator now. So join in if you want to join in, and I'll give you a few seconds. These don't fill as quickly, so hopefully it doesn't really snap fill when I jump in. But I would rather it have been closer. I'm waiting for 8 people. I might do some slow drafts just to kill some time so we don't have any super dead air. So key points to the eliminator. We're emphasizing week 1. We're emphasizing early season. That's another reason why I say eliminator is a lot like redraft, because in redraft, when I draft in redraft, I don't want to tell you what to do, but this is what I do. And I've been very successful over the years. I emphasize the first 6 weeks. I want to build a team. When I draft, I want to build a team that's 6-0. And then from there, I hit the waiver wire better than anybody in any home league I've ever been in. But, FFPC is probably, NFC is pretty good at it too, where they're 2 weeks ahead. And, I'm in those leagues, so I'll be 2 weeks ahead. But so in redraft, you emphasize that first 6 weeks, and then you hit the waiver wire for anything you need to fill in and build your team for the playoffs after that. But if you start out 6-0, you can ride 500 until you hit the playoffs and then hit a hot streak and then you win. But you really want, when you draft and redraft, I'm not worried at all about the playoff weeks, because by then half my team might be different between injuries and just bad calls or whatever. So I'm going to try to build this eliminator the same way. Another thing that comes into effect are bye weeks. So the first bye weeks are in week 5, which, let me actually see. I did the math on this. I forget. I think if you make it to week 5, you get your money back. Maybe it's week 6. It's your money back. But the money starts to come early on. But it's hard to go 5-0, 6-0. And by week, I think it's week 11. If you make it to week 11, you've already got 10 grand in your pocket. So it's pretty cool. What do I want to emphasize though? So a lot of teams, a lot of people like to try to stack the week 14 or week 13 bye weeks and get a lot of people there, because as you can see, like by the, hold on. I'll pop out the blank draft board. Where'd it go? You guys are seeing that, right? Yeah. What was I saying? If you make it to week 13 or 14, you've already got 50 or 70 grand in your pocket. So a lot of teams will just build teams that like have a ton of guys on bye week 13 and 14. They'll win the first 12 weeks, put 50, 75 grand in their pocket and call it a W. And I would too. That would be fantastic. I'd pay for a lot of fantasy football, right? But a lot of people are trying to do that as well. So another philosophy is just spread out your bye weeks. So you don't have any, like, if you can like have 5 running backs with 5 different bye weeks that scored golden. If you can have, 7 receivers with 5 or 6 different bye weeks, you're gold. You pretty much don't want any more than 2 of a position on bye at the same time. So super stacking is kind of not necessary. There are analysts that will tell you that stacking at all in this is negative EV. It's, while it does give you some upside. It also can give you downside. There's a yin to the yang where, um, you know, your receiver catches a touchdown, your quarterback gets that points, you're supercharged in that area. But if your quarterback gets hurt or has a tremendously bad week, you're killing a receiver. And if you're double stacked, you're killing two receivers. Um, but my argument to that is, well, you probably have two more quarterbacks, and hopefully you got them mini stacked, not mega stacked. Maybe a double stack where it's a wide receiver and a tight end, or a wide receiver and a running back, or tight end and running back, whatever you might have. Um, but again, like to supercharge and super stack a team, even tremendous offenses run into a week where they get 13 points, might still pull out a W somehow, but they're gonna have a bad week. But in this, you also want kind of that even team build where the three quarterback meta is really supercharged in this. So with the 1-5, I'm going to have a decision that'll probably surprise people. So we see Gibbs and Puka come off the board, and then Bijan, and then Jamar Chase, I would imagine, come off after that. So my decision is probably going to be between JSN, McCaffrey. Oh, McCaffrey goes. Huh. Yeah, I'm going to go Chase. I don't know if I should say who's in this draft. Anybody in here in the eliminator? We did start for those that didn't. Yeah. Oh, I had my draft screen up and not the draft board. So draft board's up now. I'm quite sure Ashton Genty's going to go within the next couple of picks, but there you go. So that Ashton Genty was going to be my pick, assuming Chase was off the board. I almost always draft McCaffrey before Genty, but the difference is McCaffrey's week 8 bye and could start out slow. Actually, they certainly will try to spread the targets around to the new receiving options and may not use him as much in the run game, not just because of last year's massive utilization and under efficiency, but just he's getting old. So I would have gone Genty at the 1-5, but Chase falling there just kind of feels a little bit too good to be true, since he usually goes in the 3 hole. And I don't really see him fall in any format. So I'll grab Chase and go from there. And hopefully, coming back, this is not the format that you want to try a 0 RB build in. In fact, you'll see running backs definitely get jammed up the board. You can see even in the first round where Jefferson drops to the second round because nobody got super pulled up. Like Barkley moved up at one spot from normal. Cook moved up one spot. I'm going to go Brock Bowers. I don't necessarily think that's a great move. Jeremiah Love just seemed like here's the thing. Jeremiah Love has a week 14 bye, but he's a rookie. My whole bet with Algier is that Algier is going to be pretty much splitting touches with him. And Algier in the beginning of the season is likely to get the goal line carries. If nothing else, Algier will probably see the short down and distance stuff. So I just think even with the week 14 bye, Jeremiah Love is likely to start out slow. And then anything else I feel like would have been too much of a reach, although I'm probably not going to get what I want coming back. It's going to put me in a position where I'm kind of choosing somebody that I don't have full faith in. These eliminator drafts are really tough, like because they take a lot of the learned philosophy we've had. Damn, I really wanted Brees Hall to come back to me. I was hoping to kind of distract, but yeah, with the 2 hole going Puka and Rice, there's no way he wasn't going running back in the third. I forget what I was even trying to say. I got distracted. But this format, it's completely really unexamined, let alone unsolved. And then like we're gearing towards week 1 instead of week 17. It's total flip flop and role reversal. And as you can see, the running backs, I ended up taking Travis Etienne. It's not, a lot of people are saying he wants his name, wants them to call him A-Chan. That's not what he said. It's just a French pronunciation of a French last name, Etienne. I'm not even sure I'm doing it perfectly right. I'm definitely not French at all. But the person I know does it correctly is JD from Goat District, which I'm not even positive is around anymore. But I'm in like 3 dynasty leagues with him. He used to do a podcast. I was on that podcast for a couple of years, actually. Yeah, he pronounces it correctly because he's from like, I think the Quebec area of Canada, and he's Portuguese, but has like, there's French all around him, and he's familiar with the pronunciation. So he does it correctly, perfectly correctly. All right. So after Etienne, Trey McBride goes, then Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, Chris Olave, Emeka Egbuka, Josh Jacobs in the 3rd rather than the 4th, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Josh Allen, Scam Catabust, Lad McConkey coming back to me. I think I'm going to like what comes back to me. I think I'll be all right. Might be able to recover. The funny thing about, or the tough part about this, let's say, is that or for me anyway, is that I'm really tempted by some of the receivers here. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. So T. Higgins goes there. All right. Thank you for taking Swift. It makes this easier. Quinshon Judkins, one of my guys. I know Cleveland sucks, but honestly, I think their offense is going to be forced to put up more points. Cleveland let go Myles Garrett, traded him. So their defense is going to be weaker. With a weaker defense comes higher scoring. With higher scoring comes, the 4th quarter garbage time. And then although Judkins is seen as this 2-down, not plotter back, he's certainly more explosive than a plotter back, but this just a rushing running back. He's not really seen as a receiving back, but he has the skills to do it. They do have Sampson there to really take the 3rd down role, but they're going to use Judkins to the most of their ability. The reason they didn't last year was, 1, he ended up getting hurt. But remember, he didn't even start the season on the team, really. He joined the team about 3 days before the start of the season. He was out week 1. And all right, so Neighbors is a real gamble here, but I'm going to do it. I would have liked to go on a 3rd running back, but Tootin, Bucky, and Hendo went right before me. I really would have liked Tootin just bye week wise. Hendo has the same bye week as Judkins. I did kind of glance and look and see Jadarian Price could have reached for him. As you can see, so perfect example, and I probably use this every time I do an eliminator. Tony Pollard in the 5th round, in the mid 5th round, not even like at the end. So like reaching up to get Jadarian Price, there's no harm in that whatsoever. As you can see, he goes 5'9". where in the last draft, where did I get him at 6'5"? But different format. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like the running backs are almost pushed up a full round in this one in certain areas, certain spots. And when we get this, as you get deeper, you'll see it more and more. But then as people get their third, fourth, fifth running backs, obviously they tend to go to receiver. So the Malik Neighbors pick there in the fifth, the reason he dropped to the fifth is because we don't know if he's going to start the season on PUP or active. And even if he does start active, they're not going to give him the full amount of targets week one. So he's a back of the season play, but what if? What if he is healthy week one? What if he is targeted heavily by week 2 or 3? That is a supercharged team. So yeah, maybe I got to take a 0 with my wide receiver 2, but hopefully I can back end that and cover my ass and get that done. All right, so 5th round, Pollard, Adams, Loveland, Price, Tyler Warren, Christian Watson, Jamison Williams closes out the 5th. 6th round, Carnell Tate, Roma Dunze, Jaden Daniels, Ramondre Stevenson, Caleb Williams, Jalen Warren. Yeah. Whoops. Gonna get the Chase stack with Joe Burrow. Again, stacking not that important, but 6th round Joe Burrow stacked is a smart pick no matter what format you're in. And like all these quarterbacks going in the 6th round, Jalen Hurts goes in the 6th round here when he went in the 7-11. Like that was so weird. But yeah, of the 6th round quarterbacks, I'm quite content with Joe Burrow at the 6'8" stacked with Jamar Chase. Feeling actually pretty good about that. All right, just wanted to see what other quarterbacks I might want to keep my eye on. Ooh. Now, in this format too, oh no. I'm used to drafting on my tablet, so when I get on the computer screen, I'm a little bit thrown off, and like sometimes I scroll down a little too far and forget to scroll back up. But I probably should go wide receiver here. I'll go J.K. Dobbins. I just think so. In Eliminator or in Best Ball Mania type formats, the regular tournament, the non-eliminator formats, I hardly ever draft Dobbins. Certainly not going to draft him in the 7th round, but Dobbins is likely to be their starting running back until he gets hurt or something else, or he gets taken over. I don't think he gets taken over just based on his raw talent. And when he plays hard. And that's probably part of the reason he often gets injured. But if he starts out the season strong, that's kind of what I need. Seeing that I wasn't able to get running back until the 3rd and 4th round. Yes, I'm behind at the receiver, but I do see a lot of yellow, or actually, isn't it orange coming up that I like. And we've seen, you can always kind of fill in receiver. It's really the running back that ends up quite vacant toward the end. Interesting things going on here. All right, so after my Dobbins pick went Sutton, Jordan Tyson, Rico Dowdle, Kraft, Blake Corum, Parker Washington, and Quentin Johnson closes out the 7th. I always want to call him Quinshon Johnson for some reason. It's Quentin Johnson. Chris Godwin goes. He was actually the wide receiver I was contemplating in the 7th. Then we see Alec Pierce and RJ Harvey. If RJ Harvey had come back, I would have stacked him with Dobbins. That is a true kind of stack cuff, or yeah. But I think it works out because they can, like, they'll ham and egg each other. One week, one will be good. The other week, the other will be good. As I talked about earlier, grabbing Jaden Reed here. Really like that pick. Think Reed should be going right next to Sutton. A lot of times I draft Reed before Sutton, but he certainly should be going the pick after. Although Jordan Tyson fell a little bit here too. Sutton was picked a little bit early. But so Jaden Reed, I think Jaden Reed and maybe just Jaden Reed here should be going before Parker Washington, Quentin Johnson, certainly before Godwin, Pierce, Pittman, Lemon. I think I got a steal with Jaden Reed there. I really cleaned up, actually, now that I look at it. Like, I would have been quite content with Jaden Reed in the 7th and, a running back of Dobbins quality in the 8th. Not going to go with the Giants stack here. I could. Nah, I'm going to go with Jordan Addison. I think he presents a nice floor for me at the wide receiver position. It's only my 4th wide receiver. Kind of balanced here. Not necessarily always what I look for, but I'm an Addison kind of, I don't want to say fan, but let's say believer, not even truther, just like believer. I do think he's going to be like a 1B to Jefferson, although Jefferson is an elite 1A, right? So like Addison could be more of a like low range NFL wide receiver 1. Like that's, I think there are a lot of teams where Jordan Addison is the 1A on that team. Before Addison went Worthy, I think in this format, I would rather have Addison. It's debatable. Their bye weeks are both early. Josh Downs goes before that, probably because of the bye week. You start to see the bye week affect the order of players within a tier, right? Or even a tier away from each other. A little bit different. Atticus, I hope you're right there, buddy. Hope you're right. And like even in other formats, I see Neighbors in the mid 4th, and I'm like, yeah, baby. I want to back off him, wait until he drops to the 5th, but every time I suggest that, I see him going in the early 4th, late 3rd. So like, all right, I'm just gonna shut up about him altogether and hope for the best. I'll probably go Green Bay quarterback. What happened? Yeah, it's about that time. I could go Aaron Jones, but let me just stack my Jordan Reed with, or my Jaden Reed with Jordan Love. Again, stacking not super important, but it does give you a micro edge week to week. I always say that, I've been playing redraft for 30 years, and I want to say it was like 98, 99 probably, because I think I started playing in either 90, maybe it's 96. It was either 96 or 97. And by 90, let's say 98, we had discovered that, wow, you can supercharge your team with a stack. But we didn't call it, we called it the connection, by making a connection. That's what we called it. In redraft. I forget what I want to say. Actually, I want to say even the year before I started, somebody had crushed the league with Steve Young and Rice, Jerry Rice. I want to say that was the stack. But I'm trying to remember 98. What it might have been. All right, I'm going to go with a guy I don't always go with, but like, again, this format, floor is more important than ceiling. And non-eliminator best ball and regular best ball that we play, a lot of people say that, yeah, always shoot for the upside, but you should be a little bit more balanced than that. Like, you don't want to take zeros. So I would say, you know, you kind of want to split high upside, high shooting for the ceiling, and half like just keeping yourself a floor so you're not taking zeros and doing that. But in this format, you want to make sure that you're scoring points at every position every week, starting with the beginning of the season. And I do think Chris Rodriguez in the beginning of the season will be utilized goal line and probably get 12 to 15 carries. Nah, probably not that much. 10 to 12, let's say. But he will be, I think he will give us a floor. I think you're going to see him kind of a touchdown a week. I should have scrolled down a little bit and gotten Tracy, though. Although I do like Tracy better in non-eliminator formats. I do think Scatterbust will probably light the world on fire for about 3 weeks before he ends up living in the tent. All right, so I started out Bowers early, so I was starting to get, oh no, tight end run, but with Bowers, I don't really worry that too much. Bucky Irvin in redraft, it depends on price. Not in Jadarian price, like the Bucky Irvin price. I just don't know. Like, let me think about that. I probably have him ranked about the same spot he is in best ball, but I'm looking at the guys that were picked after him, and I am going to go Rashid Shaheed here. Ooh, that kind of conflicts with week 11 bye. But as I said, by week 11, and I won't be stacking any more Green Bay. So I got to stay off the week 11 bye at wide receiver. That's one benefit of doing this when you stream is you actually say the things you're thinking out loud. And that I always tell my students, when you proofread something, say it out loud because you tend to gather more of it by listening to yourself say it as well. You tend to pick up any mistakes, really, is what I tell them. But saying that out loud kind of helps me remember a bit. Just kind of looking back, is there any other stack that I might have just opened the door for one, right? No, he's gone. Where's Sam Darnold went around before. Okay. So I can backstack this guy if he comes to me. Oh, he gone. After Shaheed went Stephon Diggs. The only reason I didn't take him because he doesn't have a team yet. Yeah, he'll probably get one, but so Coker is still there. I almost took Coker with my last pick. Oh shoot. I forgot to click the button. But I will definitely go with him here. That's 6 receivers. I'm only going to get 7 total receivers. Definitely want another running back. Well, I want a running back with a safe floor. Although I don't have much upside at running back. My upside is going to come from receiver, but that's okay. It's a balanced team. I don't need high upside. I just got to be in the top 50th percentile and hope I don't come across like a boom week from another team. And I can still put up boom weeks if necessary. I got those mini stacks with Cincinnati and Green Bay with their, well, I don't know if Jade Green's going to be the most targeted receiver, but he could be. I know he's probably not going to run as many routes as Watson, or he'll probably be about even with Golden, but he'll be more targeted in the short distance. Breece Hall, love Breece Hall. Breece Hall, I'm all in. Love him. For one of my most owned. I think he's my second or third most owned running back. But the Bucky thing, Redraft, he's probably better, but again, I think he starts out slow. It's not like anybody's going to drop him. I would take Tootenby for him, but I would. I think Jadarian Price is going to rise up to about even with him, and we'd have to see. Hopefully, your redraft doesn't draft until like late August. But if you're drafting now, I would probably anticipate Price and Bucky Irvin being about equal risk reward picks at that point. Would I pick up Gainwell as a cuff? In that case, I would rather just have Gainwell. Hold on, I gotta make a pick here, and I haven't really been looking. Oh no, I don't. Shoot, I'll just go Debo. There, I got distracted from you guys. Sorry, not mad at you though either. All right, you know what? I'm done at receiver. Shoot, I didn't really want to be done at receiver, but that's all right. I do want another quarterback. Is there even another quarterback? Yes, there is. There's definitely a quarterback worth taking. I will not be able to stack him, but no big deal. Stacking isn't super important here. And there's a couple running backs that can provide me some floor, I think. Actually, one might be a crafty eliminator style. Well, any style, really, that I don't usually do. And I'll explain it after I kind of make the pick. It's actually, I could do it either way. So Brian Robinson goes, so I'm between Dylan Sampson and Jonah Coleman. I think I'm going to go Jonah Coleman just because I have less faith in, well, Dylan Sampson was probably a better pick in this format. I was going to say I have less faith in J.K. Dobbins, and like Coleman and Dobbins are the exact same position. This is a true handcuff. But if Dobbins does start out strong and then gets hurt in week 4 or 5, it'll be nice to have Jonah Coleman for the floor. The other guy I was thinking of was Dylan Sampson, who provides me the same thing with Quinshon Judkins. But I think it's likelier that Judkins is super dominant and leaves little role for Sampson, even though Sampson will probably provide a better floor in the first 6 weeks. Well, until Dobbins gets hurt. So Coleman's a 0 until Dobbins gets hurt. Sampson is, let's say, 5 to 7 points a week unless he scores a touchdown. But it's like, it's a solid floor. You're almost guaranteed not a 0, but the upside is only comes if Judkins gets hurt. And I would think the chances of Dobbins getting hurt are far greater than Judkins getting hurt. And now it's tight end, running back, or a third quarterback. A couple guys I like in this range at each position. Really tough for me. Tough decision here. The guys I like really get pushed up in this format, I think. I think it's the guys that make me feel, this is the other reason. I feel like everybody's getting 3 quarterbacks. And although he's not stacked, Tua is probably the best value on the board in this format. Now, you could argue that with Burrow and Love, don't really need a third quarterback, but a third quarterback provides the safest kind of floor, and Tua should be just fine at the start of the season. If he has anything, like Tua could be dust, and just suck. But I feel like on Atlanta, the team he has around him, I feel as though it's stronger than Miami. Maybe it isn't. One of the things that I do think, oh, Atlanta went out, and I think they specifically got Tua because Penix is also left-handed, so it's just going from lefty to lefty. But I do think Tua kind of realizes this is his last chance at a starting gig, and the team around him is pretty strong and pretty solid offensively. So this is his shot. You got to do something with it. But Jaden Blue and Tiefer go, so I'm kind of left with at running back and at tight end. I'm gonna grab myself a little Samaje Perine. If we remember back towards the end of the season, Perine was getting close to the same amount of touches as Chase Brown. Chase Brown just did a lot more with his touches. The reason I didn't go Marshawn Lloyd is because like injuries a hyper risk with him. And if Josh Jacobs is healthy, Lloyd isn't going to get a massive workload. He could have a floor though. I like Perine's floor, and it's part of the Cincinnati stack. Just kind of going to go in that direction. Oh, that's a sixth running back. I only have one tight end. Shit. That was supposed to be a tight end pick. Damn it. I forgot I already got fifth running back. And the tight end is slim picking. I got one. I probably got two, actually. Usually I'm not going to go Michael Mayer because I already got Bowers. Man, I screw up these eliminator drafts with just some simple, stupid freaking mistakes. How didn't I usually when I have filled the position, like I want 5 running backs in this format, 7 receivers, 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends. Usually I close it out in my draft room, and I just didn't this time, and it bit me hard. But there is one other tight end, there's one other tight end that I think is going to put up points in the beginning of this, throughout the season. I think people are earmarking him as the tight end 2, when I think he's actually going to get more snaps than he's going to be more the inline tight end than the receiving tight end. But the quarterback, Theo Johnson's quarterback, Jackson Dart, does like him in the end zone. And maybe I should have grabbed Dart there in where did I have a chance to grab him? I think it was the 8th, 9th. I could have grabbed Dart in the 9th. Who'd I grab instead? That was my Addison pick. Maybe I should have gone with Dart with Neighbors and now Theo. But I should have. I know I wanted Helm at one point. Didn't grab him. Really, I was hoping. I probably should have grabbed them in the 15th. It just feels like everybody I like gets pushed up in this format, probably because wide receivers can fall and fall and fall. In fact, look, Stribling in the 18th round. I mean, you see some of the same faces, but it's more like team building. Charlie Kolar was the other one. Michael Mayer is my go-to 18th round pick, unless I already have Bowers. Although I was thinking about still doing it because I think they can both, like Michael Mayer is the inline blocking Y tight end. The Brock Bowers is your Z receiver. That's how it's going to look. Actually, it'll look like Brock Bowers is in the slot, but it'll be a move tight end. There'll be plenty of 12 formations. In fact, I think that'll be base for them, with Michael Mayer getting 70% of the snaps. Let's not go crazy. 70% of the snaps, and having a really good year. But in this format, I guess I could have gone with him with the second tight end, but then I'm definitely taking a 0 in week 13. And imagine making it to work week 13 and knowing that you had a 0 at tight end. Although, it's probably the best position to have a 0 at. My major mistake was P. Ryan there. I don't know what tight end I would have actually gotten there because Gesicki went the pick before. And I wouldn't have been looking to stack. I was hoping T. Ferg would actually come back around in the 17th. I guess I could have pushed Tua, but I didn't really feel so. It was the Tua, Jaden Blue, or Terrence Ferguson. I went with Tua because I know how valuable he is. I probably could have pushed him to the 17th, but should have counted. Team 2 only went with 2 quarterback, and that would have scared me. And yeah, that would have scared me into drafting Tua. And Jaden, I should have had running back off the queue at that point, and it would have been between Tua and T. Ferg. And if I had looked at the other tight ends that were still around, I think the best bet would have been go T. Ferg there, and then come back with Tua, because technically I could have gone Sanders as well. Although there's a question whether Sanders is actually going to start the season off. Sanders will certainly end the season. I do like him in other formats. Anyway, any questions? Are there any of you that were in this? Dobie, Westhuff, Scrub. I know I've seen you around. TD Magnet, Peppy, V Picks, Buck, Easy Money. Do I know Easy Money? I've seen that name before. Watch Catch, Dak, Blah, Flyboy. Don't recognize any names. I think they'll trade Mayer in the offseason. They've talked about their plans to utilize him. They could trade him mid-season, though, before the trade deadline. I don't really know if they have to or really want to. To supercharge the tight end position in today's offenses is probably a smart idea. I guess I'll go over my team. Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, Travis Etienne, Quinshon Judkins, Malik Neighbors, Joe Burrow for the Chase stack, J.K. Dobbins, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, Jordan Love to stack with Reed, Chris Rodriguez, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Coker, Debo Samuel, Jonah Coleman, Tua Tagovailoa. Samaje Perine was a mistake. Mistake in the sense that I should not have been drafting running back, not in the mistake that I picked him. He was kind of it was a team stack. Wasted pick eventually, though. Would have liked the tight end there. And actually, maybe I pull up Theo there. Darnell Washington is one I've been grabbing lately, but I originally was grabbing Darnell Washington because I thought he lost a lot of weight with the direction of the Steelers, and they were going to use him more as a move tight end. But now I caught a story today or yesterday that said they told him to lose weight, or they have him like losing weight, but they didn't mention anything about like 50 pounds or anything drastic like that. So I need confirmation before I start going with Darnell Washington again. I do like him though. So maybe Darnell Washington in the 17th and Johnson in the 18th, or it could have been Theo at 17 and either Darnell or Kolar. Because Kolar is safe floor. I do like Kolar in this format, the Kolar Vortex. In other formats, I am a Kolar bear. All right. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I will check y'all guys tomorrow when I'm drafting 3 pugs. Have a great night. Check ya later.